Equipped with venomous language and intentional roadblocks, they assaulted mercilessly. Sure, you'd break. They were startled by your tenacity. Every impediment they placed in your path was painstakingly removed one by one. Their intricate network of harassment led to the realization that the battlefield they formerly dominated had shifted. Their authority has disappeared, and their confidence has turned to terror. Rather than just tolerating their assaults, you fully demolished them. They are completely astounded that every barrier they built has fallen. This is a masterclass in digital self-defense, not just a success. They are aware that cyberbullying was not successful. Cyberbullying was a purposeful, organized assault on your identity, reputation, and mental health, not just hate speech. It wasn't just a few unhappy people trashing one another online. No, this was a premeditated attempt to dissect you from every angle. They planned to ruin you so that no one would ever take you seriously again, rather than just damaging you before you could protect yourself. They wanted to seize control of the tale. As a result, they launched their digital smear campaign, a relentless and methodical attack designed to damage your reputation and make you into an outcast. They had an army of trolls, flying monkeys, and even hired people to disseminate misinformation about you. So they were not alone in this. Some followers were ignorant and easily persuaded to attack without analyzing the facts. Others were hired mercenaries who attacked you for the appropriate amount while utilizing anonymous identities. These were agents of chaos, out to ruin all you had fought so hard for. Not just bullies. They invade your private discussions as comments, sections, and online places in the same way that viruses do. They meant to bombard and surround you in so much negativity that you would begin to question reality itself, rather than just make casual comments. They were desperate, and their techniques were nasty. Fake reviews quickly spread online. Each one is more absurd than the last and contains odd allegations. You started noticing incorrect remarks related with your name. Statements that were produced specifically to generate hostility to you but had nothing to do with you. They weren't happy with just criticizing your public character. No, they planned to infringe upon your privacy. They manipulated screenshots, hacked accounts, and utterly distorted what you stated. They sent angry and dishonest anonymous emails in the hopes that someone, anybody, would fall for it and believe the worst, speaking poison into the ears of everyone who listened. Send private messages to your friends, colleagues, and supporters. They lurked in the darkness. Some acted as concerned citizens and spread false information about you, advising others to avoid you before it was too late. Others were more blatant, creating drama and outright lying to make you feel worse. They wanted to make you feel alone and isolated. They wanted you to feel that the whole world was against you, and all you could see were enemies. It was an attack on your ideas, emotions, and sense of self, not only your reputation. They knew you'd damage yourself rather than them if they could make you question yourself. They also hoped you would become paranoid, mistrust every interaction, and wondering who was plotting against you. They wanted you to feel like you were drowning and the tide was already against you. No matter what you did, they relied on exhaustion, uncertainty, and panic. They reasoned that if they increased the weight, you would jump to avoid the noise and vanish on your own, eliminating the need for them to push you down the cliff. They made a mistake here, but you saw straight through it. You resisted allowing their lies to impact your reality. You crushed their campaign piece by piece rather than letting it consume you. You learned to endure the storm rather than drown in their venom. They tried to isolate you, but it did not work out. People were aware of the tendencies and started to question why the attacks were taking place. When they saw that this was a sad, desperate effort to assassinate someone stronger than them, rather than a movement for truth, the very people they had sought to recruit began to turn against them. Their imaginary empire is now disintegrating. Their lies are returning to haunt them. They are waking up the people they thought they had duped, and the bullies who thought they were unstoppable are suddenly terrified as the world watches. This was more than just cyberbullying. It was a full-blown attack on your spirit, intellect, and life. They were strategists who intended to drain you from the inside out. Not only hate-mongers yelled obscenities. Every move they did was planned, and each smear was a calculated blow to your self-control. They wanted you to feel confused, self-conscious, and overwhelmed by negativity. They thought their continuous disruptions would fracture you. There was sabotage on all fronts. Their methods went beyond insulting statements. They sought to eliminate you by submitting false complaints against your stuff. They employed automated techniques to silence you by flagging all of your accounts. Their fake reviews harmed your reputation. If you sold items or provided services in order to turn people against you, they will manufacture convincing falsehoods and spread misinformation. If you were successful, it was generally at the worst time. The fake appearance. Unexpected errors. Mails are going AWOL, and your content is strangely reaching less individuals. Is this a coincidence? No, this was a premeditated move. Every time you made progress, a digital barrier appeared. Throttled engagement, shadow banning, and unexplained login issues. It was spiritual and digital warfare. Didn't you feel it, too? Fatigue, mental confusion, and energy loss as a result of internet usage, as well as an overwhelming sensation of being under attack from all sides, as if negativity were targeted directly at you. It wasn't paranoia, but energy manipulation. They intended you to feel alone, overwhelmed, and drained before you could protect yourself. Then came the targeted strikes. They knew just what to say to set you off. They used your flaws, twisted your remarks, and delved into your past to mislead and confuse others. They mimicked your voice, gestures, and even phrases. Your identity, as well as your platform, was assaulted. But what was their worst mistake of judgment? They didn't comprehend how strong you were. You adjusted rather than crumpled under the load. You were aware of their plans, but opted not to engage. You stopped reacting to interruptions by not triggering them. You shut off their energy supply. Everything changed at that moment. They're afraid now that their whole strategy has fallen apart. Without your pain and answer, they can feel their authority fading, the illusion of it dissolving. The exact techniques they used on your mind. They're caught in them right now. Initially, it looked that they were winning every hurdle they threw in your path, and every falsehood they purposefully planted appeared to be taking root because they believed what they said. People began turning against you. They grinned, certain that they had forever engraved your fate. However, the problem with dishonesty is that it can never survive investigation. The fractures became visible. The elements of their strategy began to fall apart one by one. The same people who had previously spread lies began to probe. Discrepancies appeared. Their story problems were too obvious to ignore. The more they marketed their narrative, the more people questioned it. They lost control of the public opinion they had so carefully cultivated. And what was their greatest mistake? Underestimating truth's power. Because you were focused on recreating your reality while they were creating an illusion. You did not spend time showing yourself to those who were already persuaded, combating every myth and disputing with every troll. You choose to stay the course instead. You focused on growing yourself as their lies crumbled under their own weight. You softly encouraged yourself. They are now exposed. Those who formerly blindly believed them are now turning away. Their admirers are starting to question their motives. Their reputation, which was methodically established via deception, is collapsing in real time. What is the best part? There was nothing for you to do. They feel that divine justice is being carried out. Even when the boundaries they built around you have crumbled, they remain imprisoned by their own deception. They shattered the doors in your face, leaving them wide open. The progress they sought to hinder was inexorable. What terrifies them the most is that you were untouched by whatever they did. All of their methods, plans, and last-ditch attempts to undermine you were ineffective. And now, as they watch you soar, all they can think of is their own guilt. Their erstwhile fans now see them for who they really are. They exposed themselves, but their intention was to damage you. The battlefield has also altered. Their time and power is gone. You're the winner. Let us now take a moment to honor those who have been selected. Cheers to those who see the world from a different viewpoint, as well as the silent defenders, the watchful spirits that never sleep. They wouldn't want it any other way, and they do not fit the mold. And, while others pursue well-known paths, they forge their own, fighting unseen opponents and shining light on the dark corners. It's okay if it's not for everyone, but you'll know something is for you when you feel it in your spirit. Just the truth. There are no disguises or pretensions. This is where the Obsidian Inner Order resides, a gathering place for individuals with similar interests to share information, form bonds, and change. A nova for powerful, united by purpose rather than homogeneity. You know where to find us when you're ready. The URL is included in the description, although it is also optional. We're always monitoring things and modifying them in ways that aren't evident. Cheers to those who choose their own route, because it is who they are. Not for attention. Thank you. And here's to you. They had no clue this day would come. They never considered what would happen if you survived, since they were so certain in their control and that their assaults would forever scar you. They're scrambling now, and their once brave confidence has turned to total fear as you rise. Their unexpected silence and desperate efforts to modify history are strong signs that they hoped no one would notice the catastrophe they were attempting to do. Some of them are going backwards, deleting previous posts and eliminating evidence. Some go so far as to deny any connection. Suddenly, the same people who mocked your hardships are acting as if they have always supported you. They talk cautiously and avoid bringing up the past. They try to convince the world that they were never against you in the first place, by gaslighting themselves and everyone around them. The issue is that there are receipts, both on the internet and among individuals who observe events in real life. Never forget screenshots, recorded chats, or past posts. They recognize deep down that their attempts to hide the past have failed, and their situation worsens. They are experiencing criticism from those who previously supported and encouraged them to spread hatred and misinformation. Why? Because power is valued, and your tenacity demonstrates that you have it. Their buddies are now receding because they do not want to be associated with a losing dispute or the public humiliation that they sought to create in you. Now that it's hanging over them, they're apprehensive, keeping an eye on themselves and wondering whether the same smear tactics they used against you would be used against them in the future. They are aware that they have overreached themselves and that punishment is on the way. They will never admit that they have no clue how you made it through life. You survived despite all they threw at you, including lies, deception, manipulation, and digital sabotage. You returned stronger, invincible, and beyond their grasp. You didn't just survive. And more than anything else, it scares them. First and foremost, they understand that they never actually had influence over you. They expected your explosion. They meant for you to get engrossed in a never-ending cycle of response, always shielding yourself from their deceptions and twisted narrative. They wanted you to fall under the pressure and drown in the chaos they prepared. However, you did something unexpected instead. You gave up on their game. They required your attention to stay alive when they attacked. Every campaign of smears, insults, and whispers was designed to draw you into a battle you did not have to participate in. They wanted you to get so obsessed with disproving them that you forgot why you were here. However, you accomplished something far more powerful than interact. You separated yourself. You avoided getting diverted. Every time they set up a roadblock, you just strolled past it, casting doubt on yourself. They noted your postings, reported your accounts, and spread misinformation. However, you opted to focus on what was genuinely important: your growth, work, and progress. Instead of becoming ensnared in their web, you were 10 steps ahead of them, squandering their energy trying to stop you. Your energy was secured. Everything they said was meant to tire you and weigh heavily on your mind. They wanted you to feel nervous, irritated, and emotionally exhausted. You did, however, learn how to retain your composure. You denied them the reaction they were longing for, prohibited the negative, and cut off access. You then performed a quiet movement. They kept an eye on you. However, by following your every move and waiting for you to make a mistake, you gave them nothing to hold on to. You were creating while they were speaking. You were planning your next move as they planned. You discreetly achieved every goal they thought they had postponed. You were able to pass through any door they tried to shut. Furthermore, they no longer have control of the tale. They spread all these falsehoods. They failed to comply. You reinforced the bonds they tried to sever, as well as the reputation they worked so hard to destroy. It has more power than previously. What really frightens them is that you didn't have to destroy them to win. They were always playing a losing game, thus they lost. You labored with power, purpose, and divine alignment. They operated with dread, envy, and hatred. They were never really powerful. Their illusion only lasted as long as you let it to. It came apart the moment you stopped pouring into it. As you write your own story, the power dynamic shifts dramatically. The same folks who tried to dictate it are shocked. What is the best part? They can't stop it. They aim to break you by slander and manipulation, cyber warfare, and even spiritual assaults. They failed to see, however, that you were never fighting this battle alone, and that every effort to deplete your vitality was futile. Every nasty thing they spoke about you and every plan they devised to hinder your path failed, because divine justice was also functioning in the background. At the same moment, every energy blockage, curse, and distraction they threw at you has been successfully removed. The terror they tried to engender in you, it is no longer strong. The mess they intended to create is abundantly visible. They sought to impose solitude on you. You have more support, alignment, and connections than ever before. This was a spiritual battle, not just a technical one. They wanted you to be fatigued, distrustful, and doubtful about your purpose. Everything changed when the supernatural intervened. Your digital aura is no longer capable of touching you. It bounces off you and returns to its source. Whenever someone attempts to infiltrate your space, hurls negativity at you, or drags you back into their chaos, their karma builds as they try more assaults. They can feel it, too. The same people who mocked your issues are now uncomfortable. They sense that something is shifting, but they are unclear of why. For the first time, they are experiencing the exact suffering they desired upon you, and the energy they used is returning to them. And you never had to engage in direct conflict with them. You let God's powers deal with them. You wanted alignment, not retaliation. Rather of playing their games, you focused on increasing your frequency, strengthening your own soul, and believing that justice will be done. And it did. Man, you're protected in ways they'll never understand. Proverbs says that the Lord's name is like a fortified castle. The pious rush to it and are safe. You are unharmed by anything they tried to use against you before they could reach you. The weapons they had created were broken. They are now learning the painful lesson that you were never intended to be played with. Comments. My protection is impenetrable. If you are conscious that you are protected by divine forces, the battle is yours. However, success does not imply complacency. The same people who worked extra hard to wreck, you are still gazing on. They are waiting for an opening, a moment of weakness, or any hint that they still have some level of control. Your next step is straightforward. Remain untouchable. Your digital and spiritual safety will be your first focus from now on. Now that you've seen their power, it's time to boost your energy, defend your territory, and limit who may access it. Not everyone deserves to be in the front row of your life. Be cautious who you let into your circle. Cut off unhealthy relationships and stay away from things that drained your energy when they thought you wouldn't make it. Some of the people who are now cheering you were the ones who tossed the stones. Make the proper move. Continue to be strategic and covert. Being quiet is an indication of strength, not weakness. Allow them to predict what you will do next. Let them wonder how you won. Their capacity to intervene diminishes with their degree of understanding. Your aims. Make sure they're locked. What are your plans for their safety? Increase your online safety. They will try to invade your digital environment again, just as they did in the past. Change your passwords to make it difficult for them to have access to anything associated with your account. Enabling two-factor authentication and safeguarding your accounts. Keep your spiritual armor on. Energy is just as crucial for protection as technology. Through prayer, meditation, or just having pure intentions. Continue to cleanse your environment, ground yourself, and stay connected to divine guidance. Maintain harmony and, most importantly, express yourself sensibly. The route forward is evident. The obstacles they erected gave way to the limitations they sought to impose on your powers. They claimed you wouldn't get through the fight, but now you're stronger, smarter, and unstoppable. What happens next, then? Whatever you decide. Furthermore, they are no longer invested in your story. You're free from their manipulation, games, and desperate attempts to control your destiny. You won because you refused to engage a lower-level dispute. not because you fought harder than they did. Keep your head up. You're the winner. And you reclaimed what they sought to take away from you. The energy they tried to diminish. It is overflowing at the seams. The tale they tried to alter. In fact, you rewrote it. Their horror now serves as proof of your fortitude. They also see it. They sense it. They are aware that they have failed. They didn't realize, however, that you're just getting started. The supernatural has sent you to a realm beyond their grasp, rendering their words, plots, and attacks useless.